During World War II, a Nazi submarine called U-1206 was hiding deep beneath the North Sea. British aircraft were patrolling right above it. The crew was holding their breath. And then, the captain made a fatal mistake while using the toilet. He opened the wrong valve. Seawater rushed in within seconds, flooded the battery compartment, and triggered a release of chlorine gas. The crew had no choice but to surface, right in the middle of heavily guarded British waters. The moment they came up, they were spotted. The sub was destroyed. The crew taken prisoner. All because of a toilet. Now, at 200 meters beneath the ocean, submarines don't allow any room for error. Even the smallest mistake can become a death sentence. It's often said that a submariner's greatest enemy isn't the enemy fleet. It's his own mind. Their entire world is a steel tube, moving silently hundreds of meters below the sea. Above them, the crushing weight of the ocean. Below them, the silence of death. And in between, a human being. These crews don't stay down for days. They stay down for months. In 2024, HMS Vengeance set a jaw-dropping record, remaining submerged for 201 consecutive days. So here's the real question. How on earth do submariners survive more than 7 months beneath the ocean? How do they handle food, water, oxygen? What happens to waste down there? And if something goes wrong, like it did with U-1206, what are their options? Once again, welcome back to Obscora. Dear friends, a lot of people imagine submarines as these sleek, high-tech vessels with every comfort imaginable. But honestly, being cut off from the entire world at the bottom of the ocean is a massive challenge, even if you were living in a 5-star suite. The truth is, a submarine ain't that far from a coffin. It's a narrow metal tube designed to hide beneath the ocean. Inside, space is so tight that 2 people can barely pass each other in the same hallway. We're talking about vessels that look massive from the outside, but inside, they're crammed with engines, months of supplies, and, somehow, over 130 crew members. For context, a normal prison cell gives a prisoner about 80 square feet of personal space. A submariner? About 20. So yeah, calling it a 6-month imprisonment ain't exactly wrong. Privacy doesn't exist down there. Your personal space extends about as far as your own shoulders. People are constantly brushing past each other, and that's where the first major challenge kicks in. Claustrophobia. Claustrophobia in a sealed metal tube hundreds of meters underwater doesn't just make you uncomfortable. It can trigger panic attacks, mess with your heart rate, and destroy your decision-making. That's why the Navy screens hard for it during selection. Even the slightest sign of it, you're out. Now let's talk sleep, because this one's wild. If you've got your own private bunk on a submarine, you're lucky. Like genuinely lucky. Because most crews don't. The bunks are basically coffin-shaped shelves stacked on top of each other. You can lay down in them, but sitting up? Forget it. On submarines like the USS Missouri, there are around 135 crew members, but only 94 beds. So beds gotta be shared. They call it hot bunking. When one sailor gets up for their shift, another one's shift ends, and they slide right into the same still warm bed. The bed never gets cold. Even sleep isn't really yours anymore. And it gets weirder. There's no day or night down there. Sunlight can't reach hundreds of meters below the surface. So the human body's natural sleep cycle just breaks. Crews have to build artificial schedules to keep some sense of routine. All right, food. Before a mission kicks off, submarines load up to 20,000 kilograms of food supplies. And here's the thing, there ain't some giant storage room for all that. Food gets everywhere, under beds, in corridors, every available inch. For the first few days, crew members are literally walking over stacks of canned goods. Fresh fruit and vegetables are available early on, but they gotta be eaten fast before they go bad. After that, it's mostly canned and frozen everything. Now, despite the misery of living in a steel tube, food is huge for morale down there. If the meals get repetitive and boring, depression spreads fast. That's why some long missions include ice cream machines and the occasional steak night. No joke. Most people eat 3 meals a day. Submariners eat 4, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and something called mid-rats. That's a meal served after midnight. Life down there burns way more calories than normal, and night shift sailors depend on it. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. Oxygen. Hundreds of meters below the surface, there are no windows, no vents. It's a completely sealed metal tube. So where does the oxygen come from? You can't just stack oxygen tanks. Oxygen is highly reactive and a massive fire risk. So instead, submarines use a system called electrolysis. Seawater gets broken down chemically, oxygen gets separated and pumped into the sub's atmosphere, while hydrogen is safely vented out. One human being uses roughly 600 liters of oxygen every single day. With 130 crew members aboard, the system's got to produce around 78,000 liters every day. It's basically an underwater space station. But here's the thing, producing oxygen alone isn't enough. Every time someone exhales, they're releasing carbon dioxide. Let that build up and the air becomes deadly fast. CO2 levels above roughly 10% can become extremely hazardous. That's why modern submarines are equipped with carbon dioxide scrubbers. The air gets passed through a system where a chemical called amine absorbs the CO2 right out of it. If that system fails, there are emergency backup canisters filled with soda lime or lithium hydroxide throughout the sub. Air passes through, CO2 gets converted into solid compounds, and the crew buys themselves more time. Fresh water is another challenge. The sub is literally surrounded by salt water, but that water is useless without treatment. So seawater gets converted into fresh water through distillation or reverse osmosis filtration. Nuclear submarines usually use distillation since they've got massive energy to spare. But even though fresh water can be made on board, it's still rationed hard, no 15-minute showers. In many cases, sailors get around 60 seconds, surrounded by an ocean of water, and you can barely wash your hands. Now, waste disposal. And yeah, we're going there, because this is literally how U-1206 got destroyed. A submarine operates under enormous water pressure. Any small opening can let seawater blast in like a fire hose. So getting anything out of the submarine, human waste, garbage, anything, requires a very precise process. Waste goes into holding tanks first. When those fill up, powerful pumps force it out into the ocean. Pumps that have to generate pressure greater than the water pressure outside. And here's the critical part. The valves have to be opened in a very specific sequence. Open the outer valve before the inner one is properly managed, and seawater comes screaming back in. A simple mistake, a catastrophic result. Solid trash gets compacted into steel containers and expelled from the sub through specialized disposal systems. Kind of like torpedo launchers, but for garbage. Machines can handle the technical stuff, but the human mind, that's a whole different battle. Months without sunlight, extremely limited contact with family, the same smell, the same walls, the same faces, day after day. Crew members can slip into depression, anxiety, claustrophobia. Even a small argument can spiral fast in that kind of environment. To help keep crews mentally stable, submarines use carefully controlled lighting. During daytime hours, lights are adjusted to mimic natural daylight. At night, many subs switch to red lighting, signaling to the brain that it's time to wind down. But even with all of that, crew members are still making life or death decisions under crushing psychological pressure. And sometimes, a single mistake changes everything. In October 1944, the submarine USS Tang fired a torpedo during combat. Everything looked normal, but a small calculation error caused it to malfunction. And instead of heading toward its target, it curved back around and struck the very submarine that fired it. Whether it was the toilet valve on U-1206 or the torpedo that came back around on USS Tang, these stories reveal something important. The life of a submariner is not just a battle against enemy forces. It's a constant struggle against their own mind, their own machines, and the silent ocean itself. Deep beneath the surface, where sunlight never reaches and help may never come, there is no room for mistakes. Because underwater, even the smallest error carries the ultimate punishment.